Hi, this is Linda Burton
And this is Joseph Burton.
with Fighting to Stay Married.
Today's topic is about the wedding vows. And it's a little bit different than what we normally hear. The wedding vows are said when we get married, and there may be pre-marriage counseling on it, trying to explain to you what the marriage vows is all about. But to me, in my opinion, I don't think the wedding vows, they come at a time, or let me say it like this: when is the most important part of the wedding vows?
What do you mean?
Is it at the time of the wedding, or does it come much later, like the year mark, or the 5-year mark, or the 7-year mark, or the 15-year mark? To me, that's the most important part of the wedding vows.
You mean as the words that we say or the actions that we take?
Well, it's about the vows that you took, because you hear the words, but you don't get a chance to exercise those words, I feel, until much later.
So it's the commitment that we say in front of our friends and our family and the pastor, whoever do our ceremony, the commitment we're making to one another.
Right, that's our intention when we get married. But I'm talking about when you are 5 years down the road, let's say, or 10 years, whenever the time frame is, do we remember our vows that keeps us faithful or committed?
I think the only part that people mostly remember is better for worse, sickness for health, to death do us part. Just the general line, because you hear it in movies and you hear it more often than the whole thing of what you're saying. So I guess you're right. We never took the time to. We're so focused on making sure who's coming and who's going to be the best man, the bridesmaid, the wedding dress, the cake, all the other stuff in the wedding, that I think we do kind of lose focus of what are we really agreeing to? What are we saying? I know some people take premarital classes, and with those classes, you actually sometimes write them, or the person actually discuss them with you. But what happened if you never took a premarital class?
Right. And well, so even if you take the premarital class and go over the vows, let me give you a case in point. So you've been married 7 years, right? Let's say the wife comes down with cancer, and she has to have a mastectomy. I think that's what they call her, breast removal. So what happens is, now and then all of a sudden the husband goes, you know what, I didn't sign up for this, and leaves. So what he doesn't remember, or what someone didn't remind him of, is the better or for worse, or the worst part of the wedding vow, and he didn't remember the in sickness part of the wedding vow. So when you took those wedding vows, you essentially made a promise, or you made a vow to the other person.
Yeah, I know cases, it's say the same situation. The wife steps out, so the husband won't have to go through seeing her and taking care of her and dealing with that.
Mm-hmm. So why do you think she left then? Like, what's going through her mind?
She doesn't want to put him through the pain or the stress, or I think it's the fear. I'd rather leave than you leave me at my worst. I'd rather leave now of knowing what I'm getting into and have some type of control than I start chemo or once I have surgery and start chemo and I don't look attractive to you, or I don't feel good about myself, or I'm sick all the time and I'm thinking I'm not going to be good enough and you're going to leave me or cheat on me or whatever it may be. She's thinking he might leave her because of all the stuff she has to go through with the cancer. So instead of him leaving, she leaves. And it's really the fear of, it's the last chance of having control. I'd rather leave or tell you to leave or push you away than be rejected because something I can't change, something I can't fix myself or do anything with, or see that you make me feel worse because you don't like the way I look now, or leaving me for someone else. I push you away. So I still had that little bit of control than you doing it to me, and I'm dealing with this, now I have to deal with that.
But how do you know that's coming though? Because it seems like to me, as I hear that scenario, that's a battle that you're fighting, and he might not even be thinking along those lines.
You're right. And it's a fear that in some people it might come and go, and some people they never think of. It's just one of those things that we fight within sometimes. And it could be that example, or, you know, other examples of health issues or different things like that. We want to have some kind of control because we don't have control of our spouse. We only can have control of our actions. So if we push you away, it feels like it doesn't hurt as bad.
So it seems like, so it's a battle. So that's a battle of the person's mind then, what they're going through, because what's happening is now she, in that scenario, she's not upholding her vow, because to try to stay, you know, to try to push away somebody before they even have a chance to do that, right? So it's like, so in this scenario, what I hear is that, let me do this before he do it or she do it, because I think this is what's going to happen.
Yes.
So that's a fight in and of itself as well.
And it doesn't make it right. It's just we go through that. And sometimes we go through it without realizing we're going through it, you know, that we're doing that. Mm-hmm. And you're right. We're not thinking of better and worse, sickness or health, and death do us part. We skip that in our mind. We say it the day we get married, and
right, sickness and health, not or. Yeah, sickness and richer. I think is it richer richer or poor, and sickness and health. Mm-hmm. So it's vital. But yeah, see, that's a lot of things that those things there is something that we have to make sure we remember. It's like, because I know there's a passage that talks about remember the wife of your youth. You know, because sometimes as men we can go. I mean, it can be 15 years later, and then we see other younger women, right? And our mind, you know, so focused on that we look at our spouse 15 years later or 20 years later, and they don't look as, you know, might not look as attractive as you know, as those younger women. But the thing about it is, that's what I remember the wife of your youth, because if you look back, you know, what did your wife look like at 20 or 25 versus the 25-year-old that you're trying to compare her to today, right? Because, and these are the things we don't think about, because the 25-year-old that you're looking at today, what will they look like 15 years?
Or didn't have 3 kids, stretch marks from the children, stress from life and different things that you go through, you know, or illness.
And you will go through those things, right?
Yeah.
So those are the fights that you have to, you know, those are the things that you have to try to remember. Right? And it's hard too to remember if you don't have something there in front of you. But I think, you know, having that on the forefront of your mind, remembering the vows that you made, it's like a contract. I mean, you know, it's like a contract that you sign. No one else. I mean, no one. Well, I'm not gonna say no one, but it's a hard time breaking a contract and you sign it when there's a piece of paper and you sign it and both people agree with it. But you're actually saying that. I mean, you might have some paperwork that you sign when you get married, but when you're doing those wedding vows, you're actually making a verbal contract, and that's why you have all those witnesses there. But it's not just for that time only. It's for the time that's coming. That's when the test happens. Later on.
Yeah. I know in our marriage we renewed our vows. I really don't remember what we said.
Yeah, we had to write our own, you know, our own vows too. Yeah. But I think it's all we gotta be. I just think we gotta be so careful about romanticizing everything to the point of just feel good moments, because this stuff is for real. Life is for real. It's real things happening, and you know, you got your emotions you're gonna go through. You don't know what tomorrow may bring, and so you have to make sure, I guess, that you got to make sure that you are ready for it. So the basic stuff of the vows will help you keep you grounded, keep you safe.
I think for new marriages, I think it's take the time to look at your vows and see what you're going to say or what you just said. And for marriage that's been around for a while, maybe even Valentine's Day is coming up, actually maybe make that recommitment of what does it mean to me? What commitment am I making or I want to make to our marriage?
Every marriage is going to be challenged. And just because someone is tempted doesn't mean that they're doing anything wrong. Is if they follow through with the temptations, right? But every marriage is going to go through a test. May be our own doing. It may, you know, it's going to be tests that's coming from the outside, but be prepared, you know, not to make it sound scary or anything, but I think preparation really will save, you know, or benefit you more than not being prepared, right?
What does that mean?
What?
Preparation. Like
prepare. Like, I think we need to teach people preparations for life and get away from romanticizing stuff too much, because people they're ruled by their emotions, right?
Okay. So what would you recommend to prepare?
That's what I do. I do this with myself daily. Well, not daily, but I try to constantly talk to myself about the things that I'm facing throughout the day. You know, you and I having a real blow up or something, and this temptation comes to want to leave, or maybe they find something better. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm constantly reminding myself and talking to myself. That's what I do. I constantly talk about, okay, remember the wife of your youth. Okay, remember the vows. Oh man, I want to get out of this. Drive me crazy. I want to get away. I want to get out. But if you go back to your vows, this is what you said you would do. You would stay here. You would stick through this for better or for worse, you know, and worse. And we don't think about the worst. I'm trying to remember when we got married, was I even listening to the vows? You know, I mean, do you listen, or are you just so caught up in the moment?
I think we're so caught up in the moment of this is what's going on that I don't think we do.
Like, yeah, I'm getting married. That's so cool.
And it happens so fast. Like, you say this, you say what, and I remember thinking, okay, am I going to remember everything he's saying? Yeah. I'm not trying to remember what he's saying. I'm trying to remember the words so I won't look silly when I repeat it back and say something totally different, or forget that I'm not actually hearing what he's saying, but I'm just trying to remember the words long enough so it could come out my mouth correctly. Yeah. That if you ask me to repeat it back, or not even repeat it back, because that was the whole point, but say what it meant, I couldn't. All I was able to do, or all my focus was on, is to repeat back. So I was being a parrot of repeating back instead of paraphrasing, of taking it in, thinking what it means, and saying it. Right.
So, and yeah, thinking about, got a reception. Oh, okay, you got what time is it? You got to hurry up and all that kind of stuff. It just, it's beautiful. It's a thing that's done lots of times, and but once the honeymoon is over, as they say, right, real life kicks in, and we need to think.
And that's when it really counts, those vows that we make, the commitment that we make.
Yes.
That's when it counts. It doesn't really count when everything is going good, when you first get married and you're so in love. It's when you are driving me crazy. I just want to run. I just want to get away, or can't we just have our space for a while? You know?
I mean, and those are legit. I mean, that's a legitimate point. You can get away for a while. We're talking about leaving the marriage when nothing really has been done. I mean, I know there's some things that, people can do that. There's legitimate reason to leave the marriage. But I think some of those things that people put in there, they add on to it. I think there's only probably maybe 3-4 really valid reasons
for a divorce.
For divorce. I mean, there's only it's fewer than we think, but people just add on to it. Now it's a long list as the reason why you can get a divorce. But it's like certainly you shouldn't be getting a divorce or leaving a marriage because your spouse has gotten sick, or there's money problems. You know what I mean? So it's challenging. So, and I think a lot of people go through these things, and I think we need to be reminded that of our promise or our vows that we made.
Now, I remember the last wedding we went to wasn't that long ago, and I saw them so in love, and in my heart I know without a doubt, because they're human, they're going to hurt each other. They're going to mess up on their vows or say something that they regret or something misinterpret. And it's like they can't even see that part yet. They can't even picture that they're so in love in that moment, or so, and it's like, that's when it counts. That's what you're doing this day for, is for those times, and say, I'm yours and you're mine forever, no matter what.
So when should you tell a new person that got married? It's like, okay, the honeymoon stage is over. I mean, like, let's talk for real. No, you don't need to bring up scary stories or anything like that. But when would there be a time to bring it up? Because, I mean, certainly you can't wait until it happens.
You do it before they get married.
I'm talking about for them to remember. I'm talking about they've been married. They already got married, right? And time has passed. So when, I mean, do you just let people, because I don't believe in just letting people, well, I went through it, so you gotta go through it too. I mean, I would like for somebody, if I'm walking down the road and I stumble over something, right? I'm not gonna, I shouldn't have an attitude, the next person, they gotta, they gotta watch out for it, because what if I stumble but I didn't hurt myself?
That's the whole part of
but
this
the other person comes and they actually fall on their face,
right,
and hurt themselves. Well, I could have put a sign up, or I could have done something.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of doing this. We've been through so much. Part of it is because we got married so young, our early 20s. Yeah, and we made stupid mistakes that knew better, because
emotions.
Yeah, and we're selfish. We were thinking of ourselves.
Attitudes.
Oh, that was a big one.
It's just,
But it's just that we've been through things that we shouldn't have had to go through, and we've been things that.
I don't think couples will make it today if they go through the things that we have went through. I just don't. In 2020.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because we posted somewhere that we hit the top 10 things that most people get a divorce for, and we did all of them and more. You got some stories to tell. That's for sure. Being young, we made a lot of mistakes and health issues and different things like that, but we overcame them, and because I know we overcame it, I feel confident that other people can too. It's just knowing you can, knowing it's possible.
Yeah, but what are the chances of you stumbling over something and you stumble, but you didn't end up hurting yourself, but the person coming behind you stumbles and they actually hurt themselves or hurt others, so they might not figure it out. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody that trips over that thing might not end up having something harming to them, but why take the chance?
Right.
So
I think, and we had offered it many times, is recommend people send us questions or call us or email us, and that way we can hit topics that can help their marriage or somebody marriage that they know.
Be real. Be 100% real. Because people are not alone. You're not going through things alone. I mean, every situation might not be exactly the same, but no one is going through something, no one goes through things alone. You're not by yourself, even though it looks like it.
Oh, I think that's what you just said is the most important thing out of the whole thing, because every marriage look good until you get into their house. Until you see the doors close and you actually have a real conversation with them. There is no perfect marriage because there is no perfect person.
Turn on those lights and open up those closets.
Yeah.
Cobwebs and skeletons, and people don't want, and a lot of people don't want you to go in that closet, and they don't want to go there. Painful. I mean, all kinds of stuff come up. But so I just wanted to. I just thought that's this was important to to get inside of those wedding vows. Like we say them, but we have to. Those things would come. You have to remind yourself later on down the road about where you are, who you married. Remembering, hey, this is, I made this decision, and let me work here in this decision, because you will get tempted, you will face trials and all those kinds of things, and maybe you even stumbled, and maybe have to do some repairing, if the spouse will let you repair and stuff like that. There's still hope, but a lot of work.
And keeping your head, I'm not going anywhere.
Right, because that's what the vows say.
Yeah, but
That's what the vows say.
If you don't know what else to say, if you can't even say I love you right now,
oh yeah,
just say I'm not going anywhere. I might have to take a break and leave the house for a while, but I'm not going anywhere.
Right, don't pack a suitcase, I suppose.
So I want to thank you guys for listening.
Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the post below or in the comment section below. And until next time, this is Joe.
This is Linda.
With Fighting to Stay Married. Take care.
Thank you.